I still have a glimmer of hope that at some point in our future, humanity will learn how to think.
Okay, so before you get mad at God and the idea of him and everything, mad at God, blaming him and rejecting him, or there is no God or something like that, you need to know the truth, and acknowledge a few things.
Humanity is struggling right now. Everything this woman says is her belief, not truth. And her beliefs are based on ancient mythology that we can prove is not reliable.
So, a lot of times people get mad at God for a couple things. They say, I don't like that. It's just a bunch of rules. God is so judgmental. He just wants you to follow all these rules. It's just rules, 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 rules of your life, and I hate that. I don't want to be told what to do.
I've never even heard anyone say that. I've never heard anyone say, I'm mad at God because I don't like rules. We all know that rules provide structure, but let's look at some of the rules in the Bible and see if you agree with them. This is 1 Corinthians 11. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. But every woman praying or prophesying with her head uncovered dishonors her head. For it is one and the same thing as if she were shaved. For if a woman is not covered, let her hair also be cut off. But if it is shameful for a woman to have her hair cut off, or to be shaved, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to have his head covered, because he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. For man is not from woman, but woman from man. For man wasn't created for the woman, but woman was created for the man. What if God thought this woman's hair was too short? She would be shameful in the eyes of God. Here's another one in 1 Timothy 2. Let a woman learn in quietness with full submission. But I do not permit a woman to teach, nor to exercise authority over a man, but to be in quietness. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. Adam was not deceived, but the woman, being deceived, has fallen into disobedience. But she will be saved through her childbearing, if they continue in faith, love, and holiness with sobriety. God's rule book says that women are not allowed to teach, but they should be quiet and just have babies. Let's just look at one more in Exodus 21 before we move on. If a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she shall not go out as the male servants do. If she doesn't please her master who has married her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt deceitfully with her. If he marries her to his son, he shall deal with her as a daughter. If he takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, and her marital rights. What if your daughters could be bought and sold and traded as property as long as it was within the rules that God outlines in the Bible?
And I don't know of anybody who honestly would say I hate my parents because they made me follow rules. Now, they might say they don't like their parents because of certain unfairness, but not simply because they made you follow rules.
I'm not opposed to good rules, but the rules in the Bible are not good or fair. I pointed out just some of the injustice and inequity that the Bible outlines against women. The Bible is just a collection of unjust rules against all humanity. Imagine punishing all humanity because Adam and Eve ate a fruit. Imagine torturing the souls of humans for all eternity because they don't believe a story.
And then another reason that people say they don't like God or they're mad at God is, and they don't want anything to do with him, is like, how come all this bad stuff happens? Bad stuff happens in the world. Bad stuff happens. And how can a loving God let all this stuff happen? Oh, that's so exhausting and cliche. And it's a cop out.
It's exhausting because you're trying to justify evil and call it good.
So here's what's going on. So, how can a loving God let bad things happen? In the beginning,
Ugh, talk about exhausting. I'll spare you from most of it.
The world was perfect. God made a perfect world, perfect universe, and two perfect people. But the thing is, he also made angels, and he gave those angels, and he gave the people free will. This is vital.
It always goes back to free will. If God's perfect creation could be destroyed by his creation, was it ever perfect?
God had to give free will to the angels and to people.
Did you say God had to give free will?
God had to give free will. God had to give.
Who is God's boss that he obeys? Maybe your God is not almighty after all.
So this angel named Lucifer decided he wanted to be God. He wanted to be his own God. So because of that conflict, God had to put them out from his presence. Out. As revenge, he decided to destroy us because we're made in the image of God.
So in your view, the almighty Lucifer takes vengeance on God by destroying humanity, and God is not able to protect humanity?
Death comes with sin. This is what happens. It's like if I drop this apple, it will fall. If you do this thing, you will die. I'm just warning you. It's not a threat. It's a warning. If you run out into the street, you're gonna get hit by a car. If you hold your head under the water for too long, you will die. This is how the world works.
In the real world, good parents do not just tell their children not to play in the street or not to hold their head under water too long. They actually protect them from harm. But God is apparently incapable of protecting us from harm.
So, because of that, though, just the way that everything works, in order for that sin to be gotten over, to be forgiven, there has to be blood involved. Blood, death, sacrifice. Blood, death, sacrifice.
There must be blood, death, and sacrifice.
So, in the law that he gave Israel, which they cannot fulfill, they cannot keep that law because nobody's perfect. They can't do it.
What kind of God are you really worshiping? God gave them laws that they could not keep? That sounds unjust and unfair.
But he taught them two things. You're a sinner. You can't keep this law. You cannot be perfect. And also, death is required for forgiveness of sins.
There must be blood, death, and sacrifice.
And then he put on flesh. He was born into this world as a perfect person. Everybody hated him. Well, not everybody, but the important people did. And that was the plan. And they killed him.
So God is not immortal? Your God can die?
He was atoning for the entire world's sin. The past sin, the future sin, all sin, all sin.
That kind of makes sense. Since God is responsible for all sin and death and destruction in the world, he's the one that should have paid for it. No wonder humanity is let off the hook for sins in your worldview.
And you know that it's true. You know that he did rise from the dead because his apostles saw him, and they all were martyred because they saw him.
We can't even know that the apostles were real people. But you know what would convince me that it was true? Is if God would prevent believers from dying today. Dying for what you believe in does not prove that what you believe in is true. It's only evidence that you believed it till your death. Lots of people believe lies until their death.
They died for that. And that's how you know it's true. No one dies for a lie.
Yeah, they do. Remember those people that flew planes into the World Trade Centers? I bet you even believe that they died for a lie.